Hey there, YouTuber. So I've had people ask me to help them select a Wi-Fi enabled motherboard for 12th gen. And when people ask that, it's kind of like, well, there's a lot of other things that I could use for information from you. One, locked or unlocked processor. In this situation, we're going to assume a locked processor. Then the other aspect might be whether you want micro ATX, ATX, and even ITX sized motherboard, right? In this case, we're going to assume it could either be micro or full. And in the other aspects, obviously, we're not expecting that people want DDR5 RAM for this either. If they wanted that, potentially going to look more at some of the Z690s out there. So, what do we have on the channel that's got Wi-Fi in it for 12th gen? Not a whole lot, folks. I do have this Asus TUF Gaming B660M. Pretty solid motherboard. We'll go ahead and open this up. Now, I'm going to be looking at Amazon and Newegg because Newegg has a lot more stuff. But this is pretty solid as far as the features go. Me personally, I like a full-size ATX motherboard, but what you get on the I/O shield there for audio, videos, USBs, it is really solid, and it has the built-in I/O shield, which I happen to really like. You have the potential to hook up 2 graphics cards. I believe one is potentially PCIe 5.0 and the other could be 4.0 if I remember correctly. 4 RAM slots, which is pretty solid, and pretty much every other header that you need. So for the money, this is probably the best that you're going to get, right? What else does Amazon have? Not a whole lot, folks. So you could go to the H670 chipset, and at that point you might as well look at a Z690 if there is one that has Wi-Fi in it. But somewhere in here there should be. Okay, I might have passed over it. There you go. So not a whole lot of gains to be made on this. Obviously, the motherboard's bigger. Another M.2, one more 1-inch PCIe. Does not appear that it has any additional connectors, no additional SATAs. Things, obviously the graphics cards could be spaced out further. That's always a nice thing. I don't see anything else, folks, that makes this really worth the additional cost. The chipset's nothing spectacular, right? It's not a huge difference between H670 and B660. This is PCIe 5.0. I do believe it has more power stages in it. So this Dr. Moss 14+1. That potentially could be better for somebody looking at the i7, the i9. For i3, i5 guys, you don't need it. And you may not even need it for the i7, but we go back. So that was 14+1 power stages. I don't know, 10+1. So, there's stuff they can do. Whether it's really a benefit or not is another story. But out of these two, you would expect that the H670 would be a little better for somebody using the i7, i9, or even looking at putting an unlocked i5, i7, i9 in here instead of buying a Z690, right? Because there are people that do that. So really, not much else. Z690 Wi-Fi. This, potentially would be my choice if I was going to buy the H670. You might as well spend $10 more and buy this, right? But unlike years past, there's really not a whole lot of selection out there for Wi-Fi cards that are affordable, or Wi-Fi motherboards that are affordable. I mean, we're talking, you know, where are the ones that are really in the 150, the 200 range? So let's go ahead and bounce over to Newegg, where I believe we're going to see better stuff, better selection. So the absolute cheapest motherboard out there is this Gigabyte, right? And you know, whenever you don't see the heat sinks, you know this is not the best quality motherboard in the world, right? Now, personally, would I buy this? Yes, I would buy this for a lot of my CPUs. Would I want it for the i7 or an unlocked i5? No. Would I want it for future i9? No. Will this be good for Celeron, Pentium, i3, i5? Yes, I think this is honestly really good for folks that want that. Now, you do get 2 M.2s. You do have the ugly I.O. shield that you've got to put into your case. I really don't like those. 4 RAM slots, so that's good. Potentially, the RAM speed of this is not as good as what I've shown you already, so if you care about that, let's see what they say. How hot can you go with the RAM? Doesn't say here. We'd probably have to pull up their website. I'm actually surprised it's not on here. So, you know, details. Let's look at the I.O. shield. You know, this does have Type-C Charlie. Doesn't have a lot of USBs, right? You're looking at 5 USBs. You do have 2 display ports if you want that. HDMI. So somebody that is going to just buy a CPU that's got integrated graphics, this might not be a bad choice. Did I miss these? 2, 3? Yeah, we have 5 total. PS2 connection. Nothing great in the audio connection world here, right? So other than that, folks, this is, you know, pretty basic, right? Comes with Wi-Fi. I can't tell you how good the signal for Wi-Fi will be. That's one of those things until you get it. Can't estimate by looking at it on a picture. But if you only have $140 to spend, to be honest with you, you know, if it was a decision between this and the other B660 that Asus has that doesn't have Wi-Fi, I would get this all day long, right? There's only a couple of motherboards out there that are cheaper than this one. There's one other one that's the same price. There's 2 Asus H610Ms that don't have Wi-Fi that are cheaper, and then there is an ASRock B660M that's cheaper. Potentially a Wi-Fi card with that wouldn't be so bad. Now, this guy here, very similar to some of the motherboards I have already, okay? It's micro ATX, and look how many full-size PCIEs they have on here. 3 of them. And of course, you could put a card here, but realistically, if you put a card here, you're not going to be able to use this one, okay? So you still really only have the 2 slots. You could use this for an additional M.2. See a location there. So this does have 2 M.2 slots. Not a whole lot of header connections. If your case has Type-C, you're good. If you have USB 3.0s on your case, you're good. If you have, it almost looks like you could have 2 sets of 2 with this motherboard, folks. So that's good. SATAs, you're only going to get 4. This will have the ugly I.O. shield. And it has, let's go look at a side view. If you wanted Type C Charlie on your, if you wanted it on the back side of your computer, this does not have it, but it does have 6 USBs. Okay, so some of you might not need it, some of you will. 1 gig Ethernet. We'd have to go back and look at the other one, but you know, that's not something that's going to make me decide one way or the other. I mean, 1, 2, or 10, right? I mean, I can't use anything that's better than 1 at the moment. So, do I really need that? I don't think I do, and most of you probably will not either. Now, you do see some heat sinks here. Whatever reason, these are not attached to one, but is this worth spending $30 more than the Gigabyte? That's really a good question, folks. 4 RAM slots. This is, you know, so similar to it. It really kind of comes down to a couple features on here, whether you need it or not. So I will tell you, if you needed 2 graphics cards and you wanted to add an additional M.2, this is probably the way to go, because of, you know, or if you needed 1 graphics card and wanted to add 2 M.2s, you would need something like this. So but most people don't need that. Here's another one. Wi-Fi. What is the difference? This is $20 cheaper, folks. So this looks like a winner here. Holy cow! Look at that. 4 full-size PCIe's. You can see Gen 3, Gen 3, Gen 4. So obviously no PCIe 5.0. Most of you don't need that. And even when it comes out, most of us still won't need it, I have a feeling. You have at least 1 USB 3.0 header. I'm not sure if that is one. It doesn't, it kind of looks like it is, but you never know. 4 SATAs again. This is a pretty good motherboard, folks. I think I would honestly buy this one for 150 bucks. Sadly, you know, back in the day, you could get a Z motherboard for that price, and now forget it. So that honestly, folks, I think that is my choice. Now, depending on your CPU, that brings up a problem, right? If I was going i7, i9, I probably would not get that motherboard, but that one is packed full of features. So this guy, none of these guys are, well, one of them's not affordable, one of them doesn't have Wi-Fi. So if you're getting i5 or less, this is my recommendation, okay? If you are going i7 and above, I'm going to say, if I can find it, wasn't it just here? I'm going to say, I'm not going to say that one. It's weird. It's like stuff just disappeared. And I'm on the wrong page, that's why. Okay. i7 and above, I think this is the best deal. Quality motherboard. A lot of great features. If you're going i5 and below, I think this is the motherboard for you. So there you go, folks. That's my thoughts. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.